I think by the title alone, you would know how I feel about this. And honestly, I am huge for storytelling, and that's my number one thing that I look for in a drama, just because I have background experience in writing and just formulating story, working closely with a lot of great writers, which is why I tend to have a higher, I guess, standard for dramas when it comes to script. And that would be my number one complaint about so many dramas. But luckily, this one really delivers. And I mean, I had high hopes because it's written by the same screenwriter as My Mister, 2018 drama, which was phenomenal, as well as 2016 Another Miss O. Both, I feel like, just are so good at writing the everyday, mundane type of feeling, but writing it in such a beautiful way that there's many layers to it. It's very complex if you think about it. All the characters are very realistic, but it's kind of hard to do these types of things right with the perfect feeling that doesn't feel over romanticized. So props for the writers for that, and the casting in this drama is absolutely perfection. This one only has 16 episodes. It is available on Netflix. Not sure if it's Netflix worldwide, but that's where I watched it, and I live in Canada. This is a slow burn type of story, and you might go in with expectations. I feel like if you look at ratings and stuff, most people are raving about this drama. Watch ratings itself didn't do too well, so that's why I think it's a hidden gem, and it's why I will dedicate some time to talk about this drama that I definitely love and recommend to everyone. There's family elements, there's romance, there's sibling moments, there's just slice of life, beautiful lessons, and it might start off a little bit depressing, but give it around 3 episodes and I think it will definitely charm you, even if it's not your cup of tea. This is set in Sanpo village, following the lives of the 3 Yom siblings. And then the main male love interest is Mr. Gu, a mysterious man who doesn't really let people know his name, and he doesn't really talk to anyone. He's kind of isolating himself. And you have the female lead played by Kim Ji-won, who's just kind of fed up with her life. She's more of an introvert, and she's just doing the routine 9 to 5, and she doesn't see the point anymore. And it's so interesting, the relationship, just because from the start she tells him to worship her, which is why it's in the title. And if you watch like up to episode 2 or 3, you would know. And I'll read you one of the most popular quotes from the series. So Mr. Gu, the male love interest, says, "Are you sure? You and I will become different people when spring comes. How do you worship someone?" And she says, "You cheer them on, you tell them they can do anything and anything is possible." And from there, you really see their relationship just be so open and honest with each other. And it's like they create their own little bubble every single time you see them on screen together. It just feels like another aura. It's like next level chemistry without even talking in a lot of scenes. I just love the idea of liberating yourself, and that's the whole title. And it comes from finding freedom and how to find like little enjoyments in your life again. And I think it's so important at any stage of life. This is a very slow and simplistic show. And although it doesn't deal with a lot of crazy social issues on a very dramatized scale, it's more laid back, but it's still powerful in a way that it just resonates with you when you watch it. Although I enjoyed the first 3 episodes, it was not until episode 4 where I really started falling so hard for the male lead. So yeah, I would say give this drama 3 to 4 eps, especially if it's not your cup of tea or your genre. Just do it. The writing is absolutely stunning. The cinematography is beautiful too. If you like sunsets, there's so many scenes that are magnificent just because they're in the rural area. And also it's kind of a secret love language of the main leads, just to enjoy each other's company without speaking. And I think there's so much to that. The saying actions is louder than words is definitely true here, just because you see how the male lead is not your typical male lead at all. He's very gruff around the edges. He even comes up straight like a terrible guy at one point, but then you slowly see him change. These changes are very little and very cute, but the way that their relationship works is like, even if he does the smallest thing, because it's portrayed and written so well, you would know that It's so hard for him to even like talk or have a normal conversation with people without getting like triggered or traumatized. And that makes this drama so wholesome. It's truly not all sadness, and for the most part it's not. It's a very, I would call it like mellow. I would just say it's life, honestly. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you watch it, you'll get it. I was looking at a lot of commenters online and everyone were praising that there's even smaller details, like just re-wearing your clothes. And yeah, that's so true. In a lot of productions, something as small as just like re-wearing the same clothes wouldn't show up because it's a drama and they always try to make the actors and actresses look good. But here it just seems very ordinary. This drama has a lot of relatable quotes, and I would say if you're someone maybe entering the workforce, like around maybe mid-20s, maybe older, you would appreciate this drama even more just because you probably have experienced a lot of these things that the female lead has, or you had dealt with similar situations as the other characters. Both the main leads really impressed me, Kim Ji-won, especially with her subtle looks and maybe discomforts or just things that are shown in her eyes, very micro expressions that just adds to the realism of this drama. I feel like so many times a lot of us drama fans, we try to run to like fiction, whether if it's books, novels, or of course dramas, to kind of escape from our everyday life and problems. So I understand if this isn't your cup of tea, but I think it's dealt in a way where it doesn't feel like one emotion overrides the other. So a lot of dramas just come off straight up, like really sad, really depressing, but this isn't it. There's literally so many moments that I feel are more romantic than any rom-com or romance out there. The little things are just so special. Like an example is they always kind of walk home together, or they always accompany each other. And like whenever she has overtime or something, he would just show up, drink his beer, and just sit silently there supporting her. I would also depict this as more of an internal depiction of life instead of external, where you see a lot of fast-moving plot or something meaningful to, I guess, send out a bigger message to affect social issues or society as a whole. And although those are beautiful, it's very rare to see a drama that still in a way tackles those, but kind of minimize it to the lives and characters of the Yeom family. I think this is probably the best drama in this category of romance, slice of life. Everything is balanced so well, and it's probably the best one I've seen in the past 3 to 4 years. I would say to give this drama the respect it needs. If you're not in the mood for now, it's completely okay. You don't have to pick it up right now. Just keep it in the back of your brain, and one day when you're looking for this type of drama or when you're ready for it, then watch it. I feel like sometimes when I'm not in the mood for something, at least I'm a mood watcher, so I put off dramas. Like right now, I literally am only into this drama and wuxia dramas, so I'm only checking out heroes at the moment, and that's okay. There's so many other dramas, but I just put them all on hold to give the time and attention and just enjoy a drama fully when you're in the mood for it. Just because sometimes a drama that I wouldn't reach for ends up being phenomenal, just because my craving of rom-com or whatever the other genres are is satisfied, and then I'm looking for something new, something refreshing, then I would go for this one. As for updates for Love in Flames of War, that one I ended up dropping. So what happened was, it was okay. There wasn't too much problematic issues until I would say halfway point, maybe a little bit more than halfway, around episode 26 or 30. And then it just got really redundant with the female lead. I found her really bland. Her acting is stiff. It was fine before, because I would assume that after they get married and the romance plot started moving faster, that something would change and I would love it even more. But it turns out that that's not the case, and I think they really messed her character up. There's so many moments where the male lead does the most for her, but she doesn't reciprocate, or she just ends up doing things that just baffles me. It's kind of ridiculous, and she always ends up hurting him, and the whole time I'm like, this dude deserves so much better. So yeah, I dropped like around 30 episodes in. I only had like 10 episodes, but I honestly couldn't do it. Which is why, as much as I wanted to start defying the storm Also another Republican drama. I couldn't get Love in Flames of War out of my head, and that kind of ruined the experience for me. So I decided to check out Heroes, and I'll have a little video up hopefully soon. I think this one will come out first because it is the end of the month, or it might be early June when it comes out. And also quick thoughts on Who Rules the World, my final impression. So I honestly got so obsessed with the opening song. It's so good. I thought that the second half, there's a lot of side characters and plots that needed to be wrapped up that weren't wrapped up too well, in my opinion. The final episode, I feel like they tried to chop it down, but honestly, why? I think it would have been so much better if we had just even one extra episode would have done a lot. Like, my emotions were all over the place with that last episode just because I was trying to really like feel for some type of character. Let's just say like they would put you in a sad mood for a bit, and then all of a sudden they would jump, and then it would be like an epic action scene, and then at the end it was just a mix of emotions that felt like it was not well put together. So because of that, I couldn't give it like a 10 out of 10. At least the drama knows what they were doing, because the way they promoted it and stuff, there's so many dramas, let's just say like Royal Feast or something, is like they would promote it like it's very romance heavy, but that was just for the trailer and to get people excited for the main couple. But then there's like episodes at a time where they don't see each other. Here I feel like it's well written and both characters are quite strong and interesting, so even when they were apart, it wasn't a big deal, and there was no annoying side characters, misunderstandings, anything like that. So for romance, of course, I would give it a 10 out of 10, but overall I would give this like a 9 out of 10 still, so my original rating. But if you compare it to like the past how many years of dramas that's well written, I feel like the romance here is just so healthy, so well fleshed out. He supports her, she supports him, it's both mutual. Like, their love is so iconic from the beginning that people just call them hey bye Fengshi. Like, everybody knows the two Fengshis are always together, so they were literally meant to be. One of my favorite moments has to be the confession scene, not the first one with the fireworks, but I think it was episode 27 where there was just no hesitation on her part. I think there was a scene where she was just kind of pretending to sleep or something, and he would sweetly carry her, and she just admits to her feelings right then and there. And yeah, it's just so simple with them. I love an open communication, honesty in dramas. I feel like we barely get that, so A+ for romance. Something I disliked is that the sect people, specifically, I think it was like the daughter of the sect that Zhao Lusi came from, that whole thing, how that played out and it escalated from 0 to 100 really quick, felt so random, just because I swear at the beginning of that episode, she became like completely different. Yeah, she was just like supporting them, being like super happy, and then all of a sudden she turned off her brain. I guess you can justify it with what happened, but honestly for me, no, just because she should know Zhao Lusi more than anyone else, because they basically grew up together. So that was so random how even though they trusted her for everything, all of a sudden what happened. And yeah, so even though there were still flaws, like I said, compared to the dramas that recently been out, this is still one of the best. Definitely a power couple. And last but not least, I'm gonna review Mouse, which is a K-drama that I was looking forward to a lot. I usually save dramas where I know I'm obsessed with the actor for times when there's a drama drought and nothing interesting is out. So I decided to pick this up because I was interested in something that's like with mystery or psychology. Mouse is a drama that has multiple psychopaths, and it could get really confusing. I'm a true crime junkie. I love podcasts. I love listening to cases, documentaries, and learning about human psychology in general. So I felt a tiny bit annoyed by some portrayal of psychopath, specifically like the psychopath genetic thing, and then how it kind of became really weird in the second half. As much as I love the actors, once again, I love scripts more, and I would say that it's not the actor's fault, definitely is the script's fault. And even if the actor is phenomenal and is one of my favorite actors, Yeah, this one I felt like there were some moments where they tried to be like morally gray and interesting, but there were so many cop-outs and confusing moments that had me really angry. I think the editing was just bad in some scenes, and I don't know if they just ran out of things to make interesting, but there's literally things that don't happen, and they would leave it as the cliffhanger, and then the next episode it would just be nothing. It is unpredictable in a way. There's so many curveballs that even if you end up guessing a few elements, there's some that are truly intense and interesting. The cases are all intense. There's just so many bodies being piled up like everywhere in the first like 4 to 5 episodes alone. It's not the most gory, but there's definitely some blood here. I feel like if you're not too crazy like me, or you don't watch too much like serial killers stuff, documentaries, then it probably won't bother you and you probably look past it. There's definitely so many moments that were good, and the male lead actors, both of them are so great. You have so many people with complicated backstories here, so if you're not a big fan of flashbacks, maybe skip this one. And my last critique is that I honestly did like hurt my eyes trying to watch this, just because you have to like squint in a lot of scenes. It's so dim, and I understand that maybe aesthetics purposes, or like they don't want to be like banned on television, even though there's like I think there's a warning like 18+ sign, and to not show the brutality so much. But there's long sequences that just bothered me. It would be fine if they just make it like a 1-minute thing, but there's so many like chases in the dark, people running, screaming. It's so frantic, and I'm trying to see what's happening, but I can't, so I crank up my brightness to the max. It does get a little bit better after episode 5, but there's still like a lot of dark scenes later on too. I felt like this would have been great if it was 16 episodes instead of 20, because sometimes they would give you new clues and then they would do the backstory stuff again in like a different perspective, but altogether, like if you're binging it, it's really confusing. Actors, production is 10 out of 10. I would say editing and script, not so much. Overall, I gave this a 7 out of 10. For a first impressions video, I will try to catch up with Daybreaker and then do a first impressions video with that one and Heroes in the same video. So look forward to that. Let me know your thoughts and ratings in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.